He stood trembling in the courtroom, a black teenager barely 16, his wrists cuffed, his eyes darting nervously. In a single, jarring moment, a police officer shoved him to the ground, the thud echoing in a room frozen in stunned silence. Every gaze locked on the scene, yet no one spoke. Not the judge, not the attorneys, not the spectators. The air grew thick with tension, a silent scream of injustice hanging over the courtroom. From wherever you're watching, whether in the bustling streets of New York, the quiet corners of London, or any city where justice is meant to stand tall, ask yourself, what would you do if you witnessed this moment? Share your thoughts, demand accountability, and let's uncover the truth behind this shocking event. In the heart of Birmingham, Alabama, on a humid July morning in 2024, the Jefferson County Courthouse buzzed with the usual hum of legal proceedings. The courtroom, packed with attorneys, families, and reporters, awaited the start of a minor juvenile hearing. At the center was Marcus Turner, a 16-year-old black teenager charged with a misdemeanor for loitering near a convenience store. Marcus, lanky and soft-spoken, stood beside his public defender, Sarah Jennings, a seasoned attorney known for her tenacity. Across the room, Officer Daniel Reed, a 10-year veteran of the Birmingham Police Department, sat with a rigid posture, his badge gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The judge, Evelyn Harper, presided with a reputation for fairness but a no-nonsense demeanor. The case seemed routine, a quick hearing, a likely warning, and a return to normalcy. But the atmosphere shifted when Officer Reed's eyes met Marcus's, a flicker of something unspoken passing between them. The hearing began smoothly. Sarah presented Marcus's case, arguing the loitering charge was flimsy, supported only by Officer Reed's report of suspicious behavior. Marcus, she explained, was simply waiting for a friend outside the store. The judge nodded, her pen tapping rhythmically as she listened. But when Officer Reed took the stand, his tone was sharp, his words laced with accusation. This kid was up to no good, he said, leaning forward. I've seen his type before, hanging around, looking for trouble. Sarah's objection was swift. Your Honor, that's speculative and prejudicial. Judge Harper sustained it, but Reed's jaw tightened, his gaze boring into Marcus. As Marcus rose to speak, prompted by Sarah to clarify his side, tension crackled. I wasn't doing anything wrong, he said, his voice steady but soft. I was just standing there. Reed scoffed audibly from his seat, muttering, yeah, right. The judge's gavel cracked, demanding silence, but Reed stood, his face flushed. You're lying, kid, he snapped, stepping toward Marcus. Sarah jumped to her feet. Officer, sit down, she demanded, but Reed ignored her, his voice rising. You think you can play innocent. I know what you were doing. The courtroom held its breath as Reed closed the distance, his hand shooting out, shoving Marcus hard. The teenager stumbled, crashing to the floor with a sickening thud. Gasps rippled through the room, but no one moved. Judge Harper's face hardened, yet she remained silent, her eyes fixed on the scene. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Marcus, sprawled on the cold tile, clutched his elbow, pain flashing across his face. Sarah knelt beside him, her voice low but fierce. Are you okay? Don't move. She glared at Reed, who stood frozen, his chest heaving. This is assault, officer, she said, her words slicing through the quiet. You just attacked my client in open court. Reed's face paled, but he doubled down. He was resisting. He claimed, though Marcus hadn't moved a muscle. The prosecutor, James Colton, finally spoke, his voice unsteady. Your Honor, this is highly irregular. I moved to recess. But Sarah cut him off. No recess. This needs to be addressed now. Officer Reed just assaulted a minor in your courtroom. Spectators whispered, phones discreetly recording. A reporter in the back scribbled furiously, sensing a story that would ignite headlines. Judge Harper's voice finally broke through. Officer Reed, explain yourself. Reed straightened, his tone defiant. He's a troublemaker, Your Honor. I was ensuring order. Sarah's voice rose, trembling with anger. Order? You shoved a handcuffed teenager to the ground. There's no justification. Marcus, still on the floor, looked up, his eyes meeting the judge's. "I didn't do anything," he whispered, his voice breaking. The room felt like a powder keg, every word a spark. A bailiff stepped forward, unsure whether to intervene, while Reed's partner, Officer Linda Hayes, shifted uncomfortably in her seat, avoiding eye contact. The judge's gaze swept the room, landing on Reed. "You've overstepped, officer," she said coldly, "but we will proceed with evidence, not emotions." Sarah helped Marcus to his feet, her hand steady on his shoulder. She turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I move to dismiss the charges against my client and request an immediate investigation into Officer Reed's conduct." Colton objected, arguing procedure, but the judge raised a hand. "I'll hear arguments after we review the court's security footage," she said. Murmurs erupted. The footage, if clear, could damn right, or, some feared, be conveniently unavailable. As the court adjourned for the footage review, whispers of a cover-up began to circulate. Marcus, now seated, rubbed his bruised elbow, his mother, Tanya, rushing to his side from the back of the room. "This isn't right," she said, her voice shaking. "They can't let this slide." Sarah nodded, already planning her next move: a civil suit, a formal complaint, and a push for bodycam transparency. But the twist came hours later when the security footage surfaced online, leaked by an unknown court staffer. The video was unmistakable. Reed's shove was deliberate, unprovoked, and brutal. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #justice for Marcus trending across Birmingham, New York, London, and beyond. Protests formed outside the courthouse by evening, demanding Reed's suspension. Yet, questions lingered. Would the system protect its own, as it so often had? Officer Reed's personnel file, quietly obtained by a local journalist, revealed prior complaints of excessive force, all dismissed. The courtroom's silence that day spoke volumes, but the public's voice grew louder. From wherever you're watching, whether in Birmingham, Manchester, or any city where justice feels fragile, don't let this moment fade. Share Marcus's story, demand accountability, and ask, when will the system stop shielding those who abuse their power? The fight for justice starts with us.